Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin broadcast from Hanoi. I'm Ngọc Ly, and now the headlines.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc activities in New Zealand. Vietnam has important role in Japan's CP TPP strategy. Cultural event helps revive Áo Dài for men.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc is in New Zealand for an official visit from March 12th to 14th. We joined the Prime Minister to see how his trip is processing.
Right after setting foot on New Zealand's largest business hub of Auckland, on March 12, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc met with the city's mayor, Phil Goff. The mayor spoke highly of the robust development of the two countries' relations, especially people-to-people exchange. He also praised Vietnamese community's contribution to the city's growth. Prime Minister Phúc suggested Auckland boost cooperation with Vietnam's localities in various fields of education, science technology, human resources development, urban planning, among others. He also asked the mayor to facilitate Vietnamese community in New Zealand, allowing them to make more contributions to the bilateral ties. The same day, Prime Minister Phúc met with representatives of Vietnamese people in New Zealand while visiting the Auckland University of Technology. After touring the university's facilities, the Prime Minister talked to the Vietnamese students there and representatives of the Vietnamese community. Prime Minister Phúc highly valued the Vietnamese embassy's efforts to promote the two countries' cooperation and support Vietnamese people in New Zealand. He also asked the embassy to bolster connections in education and training, expand tourism cooperation, and further assist the Vietnamese community.
The 22nd sitting of the Standing Committee of the 14th National Assembly kicked off in Hanoi on March 12th under the chair of National Assembly Chairwoman Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân. In her opening remarks, the National Assembly Chairwoman said the session will be divided into two sessions, with the first one being from March 12th to 13th, and the remainder will be from March 19th to 20th. Participants will give opinions on draft laws, including the draft law on amendments and supplements on some articles of the education law, the draft law on amendments and supplements to some articles of the higher education law, the draft law on measurement and map, the draft revised law on competition, and the draft law on special administrative economic units. Question and answer sessions will be included in the event. During the morning sitting on March 12th, the National Assembly's Standing Committee commented on the decree on funding for the use of irrigation public services and products and on the different opinions of the draft law on measurement and map. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership CP TPP was officially inked in Chile on March 8th. On the occasion, a Japanese expert has talked about Vietnam's important role in Japan's CP TPP strategy. Our report from Japan.
Professor Koichi Ishikawa from the Institute of Asian Studies under the Asia University, Japan, said that the Japanese government estimated that the deal with 11 members will contribute to expanding Japan's GDP by 1.49%. In case it has 12 members, the figure would be 2.49%. According to the professor, Vietnam plays an important role in Japan's CP TPP strategy. Vietnam is a big economy in ASEAN in terms of both trade and investment. The country has an important role in Japan's strategy involving the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. The Japanese government hopes for Vietnam's role in promoting the deal in the future. Ishikawa noted that CP TPP issues many new regulations in the fields of e-commerce, products origin, intellectual property, and state-owned enterprises. Therefore, the deal is dubbed an FTA of the 21st century. and a model for future FTAs in the world. According to Ishikawa, the CP TPP would be an effective tool to curb the spread of United States protectionism policies. VFarm has become the first Vietnamese business to export safe vegetable farming technology to Singapore. The company has signed an agreement with DL Advance of Singapore to transfer its model using high technology.
Under the deal, VFarm's vegetable farming model will be applied in Singapore, where agricultural land area is modest while operating costs are high. DL Advance will assist VFarm to build brand names and bring its products, including agriculture and technology ones, to the global market.
The application of high technology to traditional farming is expected to make the production of safe vegetable and agricultural products in Singapore more effective, increase output on the same farming area, and minimize management, operation and cultivation costs.
Edwin Chiu, Managing Director of DL Advance, expressed his wish that the model will be applied not only in Singapore but also in other countries. DL Advance is working with some partners in the region so as to soon implement this model this year.
We strongly favor or want VFarm to bring it into Singapore as well as globally. It is because of their technology. So their technology allows the use of very low manpower. They don't need a lot of manpower, and they are using a very automated systems to allow the reduced use of lands but higher produce on their greens.
VFarm owns some advanced farming technologies, such as farming system without soil and irrigation, through which cultivation conditions are controlled by computers and Internet of Things devices.
Ho Chi Minh City plans to increase the parking fees for automobiles that park on roadsides and sidewalks of some districts to 0.9 to $1.8 per hour.
The new rates will be applied on 35 streets where parking is allowed on roadsides in districts 1, 3, 5, 10 and 11. This is aimed at restricting the use of private vehicles and encouraging the use of public transport in the city centre to reduce traffic congestion. The parking fee will be calculated by the hour instead of for parking ones like now. Vehicles are charged a mere $0.22 now. The fees are 10 to 20% higher than the average parking fees lots at malls, high-rise buildings and offices. If the plan is approved, the city estimates it can collect $1.4 million a month.
Two-way trade between Vietnam and Australia surged by 58.9% year-on-year in the first month of this year to reach $595 million, according to the Vietnam Customs.
Australia has always been among the top 20 trade partners of Vietnam for the past several years. Exports to Australia accounted for 1.5% of all Vietnam's exports last year. Vietnam has been enjoying a trade surplus with Australia, but the gap is dropping. Exports of Vietnam to Australia are mostly machinery parts, electronic equipment, footwear, textile garments, and seafood. It is noteworthy that nearly one-third or 31% of Vietnam's export value to Australia in 2017, or $1.02 billion, came from mobile phones and parts, computers, and electronic goods and parts. Meanwhile, Vietnam bought from Australia metals, coal, wheat, and cotton. The Ministry of Industry and Trade said Australia is now the 8th largest exporter to Vietnam, while Vietnam is the 14th largest exporter to Australia.
Banks are expected to make major changes in selection of their top personnel for the upcoming term from 2018 to 2023 to meet the government's new regulation.
Under the revised law on credit institutions that took effect from early this year, leaders at banks are not allowed to hold management positions in enterprises. The new regulation took effect on January 15th. However, under the transitional provision of the law, these leaders may continue to concurrently hold the two positions until the end of their term or the expiring date of the appointment at the bank. Leaders of credit institutions said they would abide by the rules and make the most appropriate choices. Besides meeting the government's new regulation, many banks will also have to find new senior personnel as the current term of the bank's management positions will end in the next few months.
A cultural event has been held at the Temple of Literature to popularize the aozai, or traditional long draw for men. Let's find out more.
Initially, the aozai was made for both men and women, but nowadays it's considered as female clothing. The event was organized to bring this traditional fashion back into life and encourage more men to wear it.
The event aims to have the young generation understand more about the aozai for men through a series of events like fashion show and field trips.
The image of men and women wearing gorgeous aozai has caught the admiring eyes of foreign tourists at the Temple of Literature.
The aozai is very beautiful, traditional, and promotes the beauty of Vietnamese women. I found that today more people are in favor of this traditional costume for festivals or important events.
Some designers have fallen into renovating aozai rather than honoring and promoting the simplicity of the original version. The event helps aozai for men make a comeback in modern life.
Like many other countries, Vietnam is entering the fourth industrial revolution with many opportunities and challenges, of which the most challenging thing is human resources. Experts acknowledge that training in information technology and human resources to serve Industrial 4.0 should begin with young generations. Let's meet a woman who brings Industry 4.0 technology to young generation.
Pupils of this class are only 5 years old. It's unlike other computing classes at school. The pupils are studying programming, one of 3 subjects in Industry 4.0 that have been taught widely in schools worldwide. Instead of playing games, kids can create their own games, a new way to learning for many Vietnamese kids.
I like to study here. Instead of playing games, I can create my own games and play with my friends. The subject gives kids a basic understanding of programming. After that, they can study higher programs such as programming language and designing programs.
Creative Technology Institute Techie is one of the first institutes in the area for kids from kindergartens, founded by Đào Lan Hương, who has worked in information technology for several years.
I find that it's a huge benefit for kids to start learning programming early. It is expected to help develop children's logical thinking and computer usage skill, as well as providing them with essential knowledge that they need for Industry 4.0. I have studied the latest models in the world, such as the US, the Republic of Korea, Singapore, and China, to develop Techie in Vietnam.
To date, Techie has more than 3,000 young learners in Vietnam. The team hopes more parents who understand programming should be learned at other subjects like literature, math, or English. Hương and her team said that in 2018, they hope to have 10,000 pupils nationwide access programming.
And our bulletins come to an end. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time.